time in the A-League men's. It's the Newcastle Jets and Perth Glory, a high-stakes match nearing the halfway point of the season. And Daniel McBreen, this is really must-win territory if these two sides want to close the gap, because the top six sides are rushing away from them.
Well, they are, Ben. Good afternoon, everyone. Both teams made moves in the transfer window to try and strengthen their squads. I'm sure anyone who follows Australian football will understand that Perth have a plethora of players in and out. They've made some mistakes that they've admitted with their players. It didn't quite work out, and they've gone to rectify that. Plenty of players coming in to strengthen, as well as Newcastle. A couple in. Momba in the midfield, and Kota Mizunuma, who has very big raps on him, so he'll be one to watch out for when he comes on the pitch.
Yeah, Mizunuma, a Japanese international, twice capped. And it is a strong-looking bench for Newcastle when Charles Momba was on there alongside his former Macarthur teammate Lockie Rose. Wellersol as well, the Brazilian recruit for Newcastle. And Perth, they've got Murder-Kudus and Wood straight into the starting side. Okamoto didn't travel, but Missau and Wales on the bench for David Drillich. So we could see four of the new Glory recruits get some action here. Ben Gibson, this was a new recruit for Newcastle at the start of the season, and he's earning himself a free kick on halfway. Scored a double last time these sides met back in December.
And he's really starting to settle into life at A-League level, isn't he? Got himself 4 goals now for the Newcastle Jets, their top scorer for the season. A really intelligent runner off the ball too.
Bayliss and Wilmering. Little dink up and around Risdon, who's been left for dead. The Glory right fullback. Now Clayton Taylor. Space to exploit. Using Dobson. On starting debut, Will Dobson has a strike at goal, and it was pretty comfortable in the end for Ollie Sarr, but that's got to give the Academy product some confidence early on.
Well, it was a nice move from the Newcastle Jets. Started in their own half when Josh Risdon really dived in. And then 5 or 6 gold shirts flowing forward. The youngster Dobson, we saw him in the second half. An half-time substitute last time out. Did very well.
We just had a look at Kota Mizunuma on the bench there for Newcastle. Now, he turned up for his initial press day in a 3-piece suit, Macca. That shows you that he means business here in the Hunter.
That's it. The only time I've worn a 3-piece suit was on my wedding day.
Adam Taggart discussed his strike at goal. Would you believe, and this is, well, maybe this is concerning for Newcastle, that he is the leading goal scorer at this venue. More than the likes of Joel Griffiths, Mikkel Tudze, Roy O'Donovan. Played here for a bit longer than Adam Taggart. He's grabbed 19 goals, only HBF Parker a better venue for him in his career, but he's number 1 here at McDonald Jones Stadium. That is in the A-League era.
Well, he's always a threat, isn't he? They've struggled a little bit going forward this season, Perth. They've struggled a lot, to be honest. But in recent weeks, they've looked a better outfit. As we see the new players come in, I'm sure we'll start to see more improvements. But he is a guy who will thrive on opportunities. Adam Taggart, when he gets them, they invariably end up in the back of the net.
4 goals for him this season. Golden boot at Newcastle in that 13-14 season, and then last year with Perth Glory. And what's most impressive about those two accolades is that in both of those years they didn't make the finals. Newcastle in 13-14, they finished 7th, and then Perth last year. So doesn't need his team to be firing for him to be doing so. Sale finds Newcastle, who's back from Canada, and he's dispossessed here, and he fortuitously gets the flag. Was it the correct call, Naka?
Yeah, I think it was. It wasn't the best touch. See, he just takes it back inside. Well, actually, I'm not giving him his due credit there. It was a good touch. I thought he had a bit of a missed touch, but he took it inside. Dobson just rushed in and cleaned him out.
So 2 seasons with York United in the Canadian Premier League, and then a season with Valour, where he played 25 matches last year. Pretty much started all of those. Back home to Australia. Did have those 40 appearances with Western Sydney Wanderers between 2018 and 2022. That's a great win in midfield by Adams. Able to release Clayton Taylor. Bearing down on goal. Taylor! And it copped a deflection, maybe from the new man, Murder-Kudus. That is a crucial intervention inside the first 7 minutes of his time in a glory jumper.
Well, it's fortuitous in the first. It was Eli Adams who released Taylor, and as he comes inside, I think Ollie Sale's going one way, the ball's going the other. And you're right, Murder-Kudus just with the block or the deflection takes it away from a certain goal for Clayton Taylor. Good start for Newcastle.
Set piece for Grozos here. And it's towards the near post. Perth deal with it. Adams. And you look at this Perth Glory backline. Nurturer playing alongside Newcastle. And I think that, well, another new combination, that's going to be a challenge for Perth. But they did spend time together. Together one season at Western Sydney. So they do know each other, know each other's game. So that will be of massive assistance to David Drulich.
Yeah, plenty of experience there. And as you say, that understanding, knowing each other's game will help as well.
Just flights it over the head of Josh Risdon.
Well, Rob Stanton was quoted as saying during the week that they're chasing an experienced centre-back themselves as well to add to the transfer window movements.
Well, this is a disaster awaiting for Newcastle. Scott saves the blushes. And Wood is still down in the box, so this will be intriguing to see how it plays out from here. But that was a great escape for the Jets. O'Neill, the former Jet, the former captain at Newcastle, flighting one forward. Bayless. Reef it out towards Dobson. Timmins, ex-glory man in the Jets lineup. Taylor spots some space down the left. It was well covered by Nurturer. Wilmering. Bayless. Timmins fighting hard for it, but Risdon winning out. Lovely pass forward from Dearman. Gee, he's been most impressive. Scored his first goal in that win over Auckland. A match winner it turned out to be in round 13. spatula. Is it taken off him by Gibson? There's space for Dobson. Can Adams find him? No, Adams goes direct. And it's Eli Adams who opens the scoring with his third goal of the season for Newcastle, his first at McDonald Jones Stadium. And that is just the start the home side was after.
Well, I was just thinking that the Newcastle Jets are winning the 50-50 challenges in the opening 10 minutes. And as this ball goes down the line on the Harvey Norman replay, just watch Gibson here, gets his body in well, wins the ball and squares it up. And we're all thinking here, drive forward and play it to your right. But he doesn't need Dobson. He sees the space, Eli Adams, and tucks it away beautifully with that left foot. Precision pass. And nothing Ollie Sale can do about it. And maybe the Perth defence was thinking the ball was going to be rolled wide as well, because they didn't put enough pressure on the ball. They hung off, allowed Adams to have the space, and he tucked it away and said, thank you very much.
Well, don't get too excited, Jets fans, because the VAR could be getting involved here. Offside potentially in the build-up. The VAR is Daniel Elder. Not that it really matters for this one, because they're going to get the lines out. And it, as they discuss, it's a technical review, so that's why there could be a little delay here. And this would indicate that it is extremely tight.
Let's have another look here. Well, our camera angle there isn't too great, but from that angle I'd say maybe he has drifted offside. What do you think, Ben?
It's line ball.
Maybe I'm wrong.
And we're told it's a goal. It is confirmed. Eli Adams with his third of the season. He scored that double against MacArthur to win the points for the Jets back in round 2. And he's got one here as they search for their first win at home since April.
Well, perfectly timed run. It was good play from the striker. We talked about being the leading goal scorer. Well, he started that. Now it's Perth's turn to come back.
Zaleski getting on the outside, but Dobson really showing plenty of energy on starting debut. Kamulka can take the ball with him, and Timmins looking forward. Risdon. O'Neill sends it out Zaleski's way. And his delivery comfortable for Ryan Scott. Zaleski named in the under-20 side this week. Here is the VAR line. And it indicates what we thought.
Very close, but very well timed.
Yeah, I was going to mention, so Zaleski, Pagaria and Pearman all named in Trevor Morgan's under-20 young Socceroos squad for the Asian Cup, which is going to be taking place next month in China. It's always a little bit nervy when our youth sides go and play in the under-20 Asian tournament, but it's exciting as well. So a lot of those boys have been playing in the A-League men, so that's going to be very important for them heading into that opening match against the Kyrgyz Republic.
And with so many young players starting and getting plenty of minutes in the A-League, it's also going to be a very important period for their clubs as well without them.
Dobson having plenty of width down that right, looking for the early delivery. He's earned his side a corner. I know we're biased, Macca, we're both Novocastrians, but it's been an impressive start for the 17-year-old Dobson.
It has. I think it's been an impressive start from Newcastle, to be honest. As I said earlier, just seem to be getting to that loose ball first. If there's a 50-50, it seems to be dropping their way at the moment.
It's been quite a long time between drinks for starting debuts for local products here for the Jets. As Adams towards that near post. Natter and Wilmering. Taylor. And that touch almost favoured Risdon. Just didn't quite have the speed to catch up with it. That is a lovely touch from Adams, but it was well read by Murderkudus because Dobson was after it. Now, a problem here in back play for Brandon O'Neill, and it was right in front of Glenn Lauder on the sideline. Glenn, did you see anything down there?
Yeah, Branners has just gone straight down right in front of us. Of course, a former Newcastle Jets captain. This would be disastrous. He came on last week very early on, 16 minutes into that game, and you can see here he just copped that foot, but it was almost like his foot was on top and just pulled up really lame. So the medical staff are checking his right ankle. And as I said, yeah, it was about this time against the Western Sydney Wanderers that he had to come on for Nick Pennington. So David Strilic wouldn't want to have to make a change so early in a game 2 weeks in a row. So we just see another replay here. He goes over the top and just goes straight to ground. So a worrying sign for such a vitally important player for Perth Glory, who have struggled probably in the first 17 minutes with Newcastle's ability to stay a lot higher up the park than they did against Western United. Newcastle sat very deep against Western, or were forced to, and they were forced into a lot of mistakes as well. So I think Newcastle and Rob Stanton have enjoyed being a little more free to knock the ball around as Brandon O'Neill goes off for some treatment, but it looks like he'll be okay to re-enter the field of play after a little bit of a stretch out.
Thanks, Glenn. Yeah, he is looking a little ginger at the moment, O'Neill. As you mentioned, coming in, Pennington out with an ankle issue, which he did take into that match against Western Sydney. So he's just out for a short period of time, expected back in probably a week or two. Aquilina, Dobson, first time ball straight to Murderkudus. Zalewski. This is going to be a willing contest. Him up against Dobson. 17-year-old versus the 19-year-old, who's, I mentioned before, heading to China with the young Socceroos next month. 3rd of February, where they convene to head up to China. Taggart. Terrific win in the air and sets Perth Glory on their way here. Risdon. Adams has done enough there to win the whistle of Ben Abraham.
Pat Wood there was, as we had another look at the foul, the clear barge in the back, but Pat Wood was just trying to find some space to get a shot, wasn't he? But every time he took a touch, a new gold shirt appeared in front of him, just drove him wide. They'd be quite energetic in their pressing today, the Jets, in the early moments of this match. That gave the Perth Glory player time on the ball to look up, pick a pass.
Shut down there by the energy of Wood, who came on in that match against Newcastle for Sydney at the start of the month, start of the year as well, and played a big part in that fight back. They were down 2-0, came on for the last 18 minutes, helped them fight back for a 2-all draw. But it's just that lack of starting experience that he's had with Sydney this year. Just the one start in 9, and he gets one on Perth Glory debut. So that's going to be great for him going forward under his old assistant coach at Sydney FC and David Drilich. Bayless looking for the run of Adams. And there's an arm from Lockie Bayless. Pokes it over the top to Lizalewski. Adam Taggart was making a beeline for it, but Grozos just nicking in there first. Osler trying to make something happen, but rather harmless in the end for Ryan Scott. Newcastle Jets bench getting themselves ready. The new recruits in Mombwa and Mizunuma. Looking forward to seeing what kind of impact they can have later on in this match. But right now, Dobson driving forward. Couldn't get it past Lizalewski on the first attempt. Grozos just couldn't quite slip it in behind Lizalewski. He would have sent Dobson on his way had he been able to squeeze that through. Bayless on a dime for Wilmering. Timmins looks for the run of Wilmering. The cross is deep. Dobson unmarked. Takes the touch. Now Gibson returns it to Dobson. Can't get past Lizalewski, who put the big leg out and prevented the path.
Well, they're being patient, Newcastle Jets, moving the ball around, waiting for the opportunity to bring the Perth defence to one side of the field and switch it on to the other. And this is the story so far for Perth, particularly in the last few minutes, that they win the ball and they just turn it over straight away again. It says, well, come and have another crack.
Well, Taylor. And now Gibson. Adams may get another shot at it. He hits the post. Well, he was that close to another double this season, Eli Adams.
Well, that was a good ball there. As the ball comes inside, you see it flicks up in the air, and Ollie Sale had come to close the space. And Gibson got his strike off there. Ollie Sale was on his way out to close the space, which almost left him in no man's land as the ball popped up for Eli Adams to try and scoop it over with the head.
Risdon searching for Osler, who just couldn't quite get there. Like it was running downhill. What a welcome return for Adams back into the starting side for Newcastle. Cella and Grimaldi, the players to drop out from the defeat to Western United last week. Now there's a problem here for Wood. Well, they don't want to see this. There is Kota Mizunuma, twice capped by Japan. And here's a player with some pedigree. Won the J-League with Yokohama F. Marinos. And he said he loves Australian coaches. He's been coached by Ange Postecoglou, Kevin Muscat, Harry Kuehl, John Hutchinson. So he was really excited to come out here to Australia. You're having a little smile, Macca. What do you...
I was going to say, it sounds like he's only been coached by Australian coaches. There's a list of 4 there. Obviously, I'm not being serious, but they all tend to speak highly of him as well as a real team player with some real ability as well. We all know the quality of the Japanese national team. You don't get called up lightly.
Yeah, and has captain Yokohama F. Marinos as well. So the 34-year-old still with some experience to pass on. He's got a 6-month contract till the end of this season with an option for another year. So we'll wait and see whether he takes that up if he can get through the next 6 months. Wilmering and Brisbane read the situation well. Immediately was searching for Taggart. Now, if you had a record like Adam Taggart does here in Newcastle, is that something as a player that is in the back of your mind? You're thinking good thoughts coming in here?
Yeah, have your favourite fields and teams. Yeah, he was just saying to his teammates, just give me some chance, give me something.
I want to know what yours was now that I asked.
Well, I don't think it was anywhere near. And Taggart's 19, I can tell you.
I'll find out. Taylor. Oh, what about the flick on from Adams? Dobson! What a chance. The 17-year-old on starting debut for his local side. And that's the feeling from the supporters. Devastated he couldn't finish it.
Well, it was the header from Eli Adams to just help it on. He was probably under hit from Clayton Taylor. It's a tight angle and he's just gone for raw power. Did have teammates square, but decided to go on his own and blasted over the Ollie Sale net. You said it, Benny. He's having a wonderful game so far in his starting debut.
Now it's he who finds Eli Adams. Scored the opening goal in this one. Hobson trying to squeeze his way through a cul-de-sac there. 3 Glory players converging. Taggart putting in the chase. Putting the pressure on Grozos just to finish off that discussion. So Macca, 14 goals at Industry Group Stadium for yourself.
Oh, thanks, Benny.
Pretty close to Taggart's 19. Taylor's got a few here, and he may have just earned a free kick. Or has he gone down a little softly?
No, that's a foul for mine. Clear as day. Watch here, he takes the ball across and he just blocked out of the run forward. I don't think there's any question whatsoever. Well, what a contentious call in the Adelaide-Auckland game.
Was it shoulder to shoulder there, though?
No, I don't think so.
Well, at the other end, this would cause some consternation if Perth went up and equalised. Not to be, though, in that moment. Bayless can hit a pass, but couldn't on that occasion. Zaleski sauntering forward. Decides to drop it back. the 1-2 with Osler. Osler's delivery went via Wilmering, almost found Gamulka. Space out to the right for the spring-heeled Aquilina to exploit, and now he links with Dobson. Returns it to Aquilina, corner for Newcastle on the way, and that was impressive the way they just made their way down that right flank.
Well, it was good composure in the back third, wasn't it? The switch, the play that opened up the field and allowed them to sweep forward.
Now, Alyssa Laskey, hands on knees there in the box. Seems to be feeling a bit of fatigue after half an hour in this one. Defending the corner, Adams is swinging it in. It spills away for the clearance. Well, one thing you can expect when the Jets play Perth Glory is plenty of goals. 4 in that last meeting, they all went the way of the Jets, but the previous 5 before that, 2 all draws. It was an incredible run of matches, and Newcastle got their first victory over Perth here in Newcastle in 2020. That was their first in 9 years. Dobson, Adams, off the crossbar. So he's hit the right post, he's hit the crossbar. Just one more to go, Eli.
Well, it was a wonderful strike, wasn't it? Again, too much time on the edge of the box to turn and face. And he got it back onto that left foot. He let it rip, didn't he? And listen to the thud as it rattles off the crossbar. And he must be thinking, well, I'm not far off a hat-trick, but I've only got one.
Yeah, so a goal, right post, crossbar, left post. Yeah. Just one more. Frustrating, though, for Newcastle because they could be out of sight at this point. Still 1-0. And it only takes one moment for this man, Adam Taggart. We've seen him score goals from outside the box here in Newcastle in years gone by.
Well, they've barely had a look, have they, Perth? Ryan Scott down the other end, doing some warm-up stretches before half-time. Has hardly been involved.
Yeah, so between November 2011 and February 2020, Newcastle did not beat Perth Glory at this venue, and now Perth, they haven't won at this venue since December 2018. Used to be such a happy hunting ground for them, despite the massive trip, almost bigger than their trip to Wellington, really, because they've got to fly to Sydney and then get the bus a couple of hours up to Newcastle. So it was a hell of a trip for them. Used to make it work, but not so of late. Taggart trying to peel off the shoulder of Natta. And Taggart just too strong for Natta. And appeals for handball, penalty. And that's what can happen. If you don't take your chances, it takes one moment and the match can swing in an instant.
Well, right there is the experience and guile and strength of Adam Taggart. He just uses his body well. Brushes Mark Natta away. It's one of those ones that it's given. It's harsh, you'd think, on the defender. There's not much he can do from that range when his hand's down by his side, but it's flying towards goal, so you can understand. And well, they've hit the post, they've hit the crossbar, they're one up, and now they're at the other end with Adam Taggart with the ball from 12 yards.
there is a lot of frustration from the Newcastle bench, as you would expect, towards the fourth official, which is Nathan Shakespeare. Daniel Earl to the VAR will be running his eye over it, but it's hard to see it being overturned.
Well, yeah, it's got to be clear and obvious, and as we've known in recent years, this is one of those handballs where there seems to be so many grey areas. VAR has confirmed the penalty.
Well, Ryan Scott has saved once this year in that round 2 match against MacArthur. 1 save from 12 faced in his A-League men's career. But it's Taggart who is on target for the 20th time at McDonald Jones Stadium, the leading goal scorer at this venue. There's another one in his illustrious career, and Perth Glory, who have barely had a chance, are back level.
Well, on the Harvey Norman replay, here's another look. It's one of those ones that you don't know what the defender's supposed to do. The ball's flying towards the goal. Referee's made their decision. And Adam Taggart puts it away. And you said it, Benny, they've hardly had a sniff at all, Perth, in this match so far. It's been all the Jets. That they could have been away. We said they could have been 2-3 goals clear. And now they're back level pegging.
And that's why we love football, isn't it? Because this is exactly what can happen. You can be absolutely dominated, outplayed, and all of a sudden, it's one apiece. And Newcastle, well, they are going to be wondering, how are we not further ahead? And Perth, well, they're going to get so much energy off the back of that. And they've still got some talent on the bench. You can see Lockie Wales waiting there.
Well, that's the exciting thing about today with these teams. Some new attacking blood on both teams that everyone is so keen to see. They'll be adding some extra energy and enthusiasm.
Charles Mombwa puts up Mizunuma for Newcastle. Well, it's just great, isn't it? The January transfer window, fantastic. Midpoint of the season. Teams that are struggling get to try and strengthen their squads. So Perth, they said 5 new players. That's exactly what's happened. Stan Lazaridis announced that. Newcastle with 2. There is some talk that maybe another experienced defender. Let's see how that plays out over the period ahead. Right now, got a real battle on their hands against Perth Glory. Looking for their first win against the Jets since 2021.
The Glory fans have really found their voice now, haven't they?
Well, you can hear them over the top of the Newcastle fans, can't you? And it's a good bunch of fans, because it is a big trip and it is an expensive trip. So you got to credit the Glory fans for coming out. Wilmering that delivery towards Eli Adams. Just didn't quite get there in time. Pearman and Murdakutis out to Zalewski. It tells of Newcastle's domination, that 61% possession. But since the equaliser, just started to even up. This is a poor turnover. Timmins rolls it out. Dobson, deflection off the post. Dobson, he couldn't get it there. Now it's Taylor's chance. Oh, what does he have to do to score this afternoon? The 17-year-old Dobson, he cannot believe it.
Well, this ball here, I think, is under hit. And it basically just deflects off Dobson. Hits the cross out of the post. And as it comes back, he just gets it all mixed up. And he will not get to sleep thinking about that one tonight.
Oh, wow. Is that one of those bad dreams, Macca?
From experience, that is the one you will, no matter the result tonight, he will be thinking about that one at 3 a.m. laying in his bed. You see the deflection first comes, and that's up there as a miss of the season, isn't it? Let's be honest. Got a little bit fortuitous with the deflection as it came back off the post, and then Clayton Taylor following up, but he's been amongst it going forward. Will Dobson. We spoke about not taking your chances. Rob Stanton will be looking back now at a couple for Eli Adams, 2 now for Will Dobson, and you'll be thinking we've dominated this first half.
Well, we usually have the hit crossbar stat that sometimes pops up every now and then. So what's Newcastle got? 3. 3 hit the crossbar. And, well, does that go down as one of the misses of the season, Macca, the Dobson?
It's up there. It's up there.
Aquilina towards Adams, and pinched by Wood. Osler.
Well, it's been, and that's a poor ball from Curtis. It's been clear that the Jets have been the better team in this first half. We've hardly spoke about Osler, Pearman, Wood and Taggart during this match. They've hardly had any involvement going forward. Of course, Taggart creating the penalty and scoring it. But apart from that, they've really rarely troubled the Jets at the other end.
If that pass was a little better weighted, there may have been a chance at a 2-1 lead for Perth at half-time. Timmins. Baylor. So a couple of minutes remaining of regulation time in this first half. Wilmering. Early delivery, and Ollie Sale caught up with it. Jalen Pearman. What a rise for the 18-year-old. Part of the young Socceroos squad. Heading to China, part of that squad as well last year that went to the Panda Cup. Great to see a Perth local out of Kingsley West Side all the way through to glory, and now the national under-20 setup. Adams. Good pressure from Gamorka, but Newcastle able to retain it. Wilmering. Taylor. Bayless sees the space. And Dobson goes off the left. Well, he goes, well, I've had chances from closer. Why not have one from outside the box? And in the end, it was closer to the corner flag.
Well, it was a good underlapping run for Aquilina. On that occasion, Dobson chose to go on his own. Couldn't trouble that man at all. But it's been a good first half from Newcastle Jets. They'll just be ruining the opportunities they've had. They haven't put more away. Really dominated Perth, but as we said, when you have a man like Taggart, they're never safe.
Is there one final chance for the glory before half-time? Risdon. Osler. And O'Neill. Shut down by Timmins, but Taylor just dwelled on possession, and it affords Perth a chance here out of a tight corner. And they win it back again thanks to O'Neill. Things getting a little squeaky here right before half-time for the Jets.
Well, I think Ryan Scott's giving his teammates a serve there, saying, it's a minute from half-time. We've dominated the game, and you want to take chances in the bottom corner around the edge of our box.
Just seem to have lost their mojo a bit, Newcastle. Since the equaliser, they were a little more fluid before then. Half-time break may be coming at a good time for them. Taylor. Wilmering. Delivery decent, but Nerdakudis came through with the header away. And that will be half-time between David Drulich's Perth Glory and Rob Stanton's Newcastle Jets. We're underway in the second half. It was a first half dominated by Newcastle, but it was Adam Taggart who grabbed a late equaliser. Daniel McBreen and the home side bring the energy again to start this second half.
Well, that's the question, Ben. They were clearly the better team in the first half, and David Drulich will be saying, well, we weren't at our best, but we're still here, we're level. We've managed to force something out of that first half. They need to lift if they're going to get something out of the second. If the Jets can continue in the same vein, it's just the finishing that they couldn't quite muster. Well, they would think themselves favourites to take something from this match.
What's been the big issue for both of these two sides this season is finishing. Bottom two in terms of goals scored, and Adam Taggart, a rare blemish from him, but he was still able to get back on the ball after initially standing on it. So the Jets now 15 goals for the season. Perth into double figures finally with 10. Are they going to move further forward with Taggart, but he is cut off. Timmins. 44 appearances for Cal Timmins, 4 goals for the Glory across his 3 seasons with them before making the move east to Newcastle.
I think last year Adam Taggart scored almost half of Perth Glory's goals, didn't he, in the league? And he's sitting on 5 now himself of their 10.
His 100th A-League men's appearance for Perth Glory today. Has played more than 100 for Perth, but he's 100th for them in the A-League. He's their second highest goal scorer all time. So across all matches, he's got 52. Andy Keogh's #1 with 64 in the A-League. He's got 52 now, and Keogh 59. So he's tracking down the Irishman. He's such a prolific scorer for Perth for so long. Dobson. Timmins. What about playing the ball back to Dobson? Now it's O'Neill. Miss out. Lockie Wales also waiting there on the bench for his Glory debut.
Well, Lockie Wales went through quite a vigorous warm-up in the half-time break. We were thinking he may have been introduced as they came back out, but not to be. Maybe that was him trying to show that I'm ready. Get me out there.
Well, those two recruits they got on the bench, they've got some silverware in their back pocket. Wales, a championship winner in the A-League with Western United back in 2022. And miss out a winner in Japan in the J2 League with Shonan Bellmare back in 2014. The recruit Okamoto also played with Shonan Bellmare, so combination between those two players certainly is going to help David Drilic. Tierman was a tired looking dart down the right from him. Risdon and Osler. Timmins. Great composure there from Cal Timmins in midfield. And off goes Aquilina. Dobson, great touch from Will Dobson. He may have copped it late. Eli Adams's pass just held up in the grass, but the clearance only as far as Dobson. That pass not quite as good.
We've seen a number of passes hold up on the surface. We were speaking off air, Benny, we were down there. Even though they put the sprinklers on, with that heat, that sun, it draws it out and dries the pitch out, which can make it a little sticky at times. So when you're trying to punch that ball through, it can hold up.
I was thinking that one of the coaches needs to go to the groundskeeper's shed and just bump the sprinkler button like we saw in Perth
a
week and a half ago.
It wouldn't hurt to get it back on at half-time, I think, to help these teams move that ball around, to shift it.
Well, sometimes we do see him on at half-time, but it wasn't the case today. Charles Mombwa alongside Wellersol, pondering what impact he can have on this match. His last competitive football was in the middle of last year with Tanzania, after departing MacArthur at the back end of the last A-League season. Timmins, Dobson. And that pass is picked off by Risdon. O'Neill. Back to Risdon. Most appearances all time in Perth Glory history. Risdon, this ball, the keeper with a cap on. Not often you see that these days. And it's Ryan Scott who comes out and claims. Dobson, just a touch that was a little too heavy. Alyssa Lacey was able to come in and shut down any promise for Newcastle down that right.
Well, I don't know if it's an ominous sign, but as soon as Dobson had that heavy touch, Rob Stanton just put the arm up and waved his new recruit up. Said, come on, let's go.
He is a winger, so you would expect that Dobson would be the man likely replaced by Kota Mizunuma. And the Jets fans are going to get their first look here at the two-time Japanese international. He's getting his final instructions from Jets assistant Damir Pradanovic.
Well, these are decisions coaches are there to make. When is the right time to get the impact players on, change the course of the game? You can hear what the Jets crowd thinks of their new signing.
I don't know if they'll be as excited when they hear it's the local boy who's going to be replaced. We'll get confirmation very, very soon. And it is. So, Will Dobson, what a starting debut. A little tired maybe to start the second half, but he did everything but score in the first half, the Belmont FC junior. And it's a Jets debut. for the two-time Japanese international, already making himself a fan favourite here. Kota Mizunuma. So what kind of impact can the 34-year-old have on this game? He comes in with a lot of silverware. J-League winner with Yokohama F. Marinos in 2022. He's won the Emperor's Cup with Cerezo Osaka. The J-League Cup as well with the same club. They're actually coached by Arthur Pappas now, coming into the new season. He was named in the J-League Best 11 back in 2022. And that was the side, the Yokohama side, coached by Kevin Muscat, that won the title. As I mentioned earlier, he said he loves Australian coaches, looking forward to seeing his impact on Australian football in his time here. 6-month deal till the end of the season with an option of an additional year. Brisbane. Flick on from Wood. Pumped away by Grozos. Murderkudis. You have just joined us. Tas Murderkudis back in the A-League. Signing announced by Perth Glory yesterday, straight into the starting side after 3 seasons in Canada. Pat Wood, another new recruit on loan back into this season. Throw goes his way. And for Newcastle, Mizunuma, the new man, and we're about to see Charles Mombwa, another player announced this week by the Jets, joining the club in the January transfer window. Aquilina has Mizunuma down the right. Early delivery, decent area, just no one in a gold shirt. That pass was just a little sluggish to Murderkudis, who's now able to run. Dinks into the head of Grozos. He's now just out of position, but he'll get himself back in the right spot. So a little bit of a lull to start the second half, Macca, you'd say?
Well, I think the Perth have come out with a little bit more energy in this second half. I've seen Josh Risdon fly into a couple of challenges and win the ball and start moving it a little quicker. And it's the Jets, as Perth were like in the first half, who, when they win it, are giving it away with regularity, allowing Perth to have a little bit of time on the ball, move them around a little.
Dearman. And Osler's ball. Not the direction he was after, just a little too deep for any of his men in the middle. Charles Mombwa did come up for a chat with the Jets coaching staff, and now he's been sent back to go to some more warm-ups. Mizunuma, his pass right in front of Clayton Taylor, but Merchler had a couple of big long strides in.
That was a good touch from Josh Risdon as well, wasn't it? Clayton Taylor was just about to take that into his path. He just flung out the leg and just got enough on it. And that allowed Merchler to step across and take command of the situation.
Murderkudis' pass neither here nor there in the end. But Lizalewski's made something happen there out of nothing. He'll get a throw. So it is a double-pronged substitution on the way for Newcastle. And this has got to be some kind of a relief for Rob Stanton, the fact that he's got a very strong bench to look towards, because it's the two ex-MacArthur boys. Rose and Mombwa, who are coming to the halfway line to try and stamp their authority on this match. Rose with 2 in his last 3 for the Jets. Bayless. Adams already got one. Shimmering. And Bayless, who scored against Perth back in December, really fluffed his lines there. Mizunuma with the delivery. Timmins, the deflection. Doesn't favour anyone in a Jets shirt. It does eventually, though. Adams and Wilmering stabs it. Gibson. He doesn't put it on target and force Sale to make a save. Macca did have the hand up for a potential offside, but regardless, he didn't bring the keeper into it.
Well, the hand wasn't up for offside. The hand was that it was such a good opportunity. I thought he got up well. He also had Mizunuma right behind him, who may have been able to step onto it. As we see the substitutions now for the Newcastle Jets.
So Eli Adams, goal scorer for Newcastle, put them ahead. He has replaced Bayless as well. 2 really impressive players again for Newcastle today. And on come Rose and Mombwa. So Charles Mombwa, his first match of competitive football since the middle of last year when he was on international duty with Tanzania. 10 appearances for his national side. He was born in Congo and then his family fled to Tanzania. Spent 2 years there before migrating to Zimbabwe and then to Sydney. He's back in the A-League now and looking to make an impact. He's so grateful for this opportunity. And Rose has given away the free kick. He tried to scrounge that pass around the corner. Mombwa. One thing he will do is bring that spark in midfield. He is so busy in that area. Lack of opportunities at MacArthur last season due to their glut of talent in that department. Lockie Rose and the cross cut out by Murchula. Gamulka put under pressure by Mizunuma, and now it's Timmins. Gibson couldn't squeeze it out to Lockie Rose, but Newcastle are really pressing and forcing the issue as Perth make a double change, and we'll head down to the sideline with Glenn Lauder.
Yeah, it was interesting there, Ben. David Strilic just asked Pat Wood, are you okay? And Pat Wood put his thumb up to say he was, but you can see him absolutely blowing as he comes on, and a great opportunity for Lockie Wales for the final half an hour against one of the clubs that he could have potentially ended up at. Newcastle and the Central Coast both went in for him, but he's made Perth his home now, and he has the opportunity to maybe find something for this club after a pretty slow first half for them.
Thank you, Glenn. I think Perth may just have a little bit more in the bank to attract Wales to their club as opposed to the club he began with, the Mariners or Newcastle. Surely a boy from Terrigal Junior. He couldn't bring himself to sign for Newcastle. That'd be a big step for him.
There's been a few that have crossed the divide.
Taylor, was just a tired-looking pass from Risdon, and he leaves him in his weight. Clayton Taylor, Murchler just stabs out a boot as he was retreating, and in the end it was effective.
Well, the substitutions have just brought a little bit of energy. They seem to revitalise the Jets. David Drillich saying, well, we're going to have to make some changes as well, introducing a couple of live wires.
Taylor got it to Wilmering from a tricky angle, and Newcastle earn themselves a set piece, and this will be interesting. Who's running over to take it? I thought it was Mizunuma. He was running over to take, but then...
well, he's just been told by the assistant coach, Damir Pradanovic, to take the... I had a chat with Damir before the kickoff, and he said that training, they did their set piece training, and they did 2 in each one. He hit the spot on every single time, and he said, that'll do. So when he saw that he wasn't going to take it, then he got out of his seat and he screamed at him, get on the ball.
He's too polite, but he is taking it. And this is a wonderful delivery, and Mark Natter at the back post probably should have made it 2-1 to the Jets. And Mizunuma, he's running to the other corner now.
Well, that's the kind of delivery and crossing we're talking about. It's good defending in the end. Just to get in front, get it away from Lizalowski.
You can see the breeze as well, so from that right-footed angle, he was really getting some bend in towards the goal. This one will be away. Still dangerous. This time it was Rose. Oh, Macca. How about the deliveries from Mizunuma? What a signing he is looking like already for Newcastle.
Well, when the inquiries were made about Mizunuma and his style of play, the first thing that everyone that had dealt with him said, unbelievable crosses, set pieces, open play. And he's just shown us on those 2 corners why those wraps were so big.
Warning for Perth Glory, they don't want to be giving away any set pieces anywhere near goal. That kind of ability. Wales with Taggart. Mombois just too quick, just got himself in front. Great body position. This is a young man who's been given a lifeline, so he's going to give it his all. Same deal as Mizunuma, 6 months with the option for a year. Murchler over the head of Natter. Mombois. Zalewski for his future young Socceroos teammate. And this free kick's going the way of Newcastle for the contact on Timmins.
He's just late, isn't he? Looked like a tired stretch for the ball.
Timmins looking for Mizunuma. He looked up once and then thought about finding Aquilina next to him, and then he went no. Looking for Mizunuma. Gibson. Little 1-2. Whistle again from Ben Abraham. So there's a bit of frustration here. Some fouls building up. Abraham quickly in there just to give a warning.
Well, it's a clear foul. The Jets players are a bit frustrated as well as they went to grab the ball and take the quick free kick. Perth players just booted the ball over the sideline.
No yellow cards in this match so far. Mizunuma tried the run of Taylor. And he will track it down. Rosas. Osler will let it run harmlessly over the byline.
Well, he played that ball forward to Taylor, and then he followed up behind as if to say, well, just roll it back to me so I can step onto it. Clayton Taylor just took his player on and lost it.
I'm sure as they play together more and more, that's something that his teammates will realise. If you get a crossing opportunity with no pressure, Mombwa flicking it on. Well, just over 20 minutes to go, regulation time. A draw really doesn't do much for either side. It's 3 points that is required here. So can someone find a winner to breathe some hope into their season that they can track down the top 6 sides? As a point is going to make that feat all the more difficult. Newcastle with the derby next Saturday away from home, followed by victory. Perth have got Melbourne Victory next week, and then the Mariners at home. Natta away to Rose, and now how are the legs here of the 34-year-old Mizunuma? He decides to find Rose, and then he gets flat. Well, welcome to the A-League. There's the shoulder of Josh Risdon. Aquilina, Gibson. Aquilina's delivery, we've seen those kind of balls be so dangerous for opposition defences this season. He almost pulled off another, and there's a corner. This is going to be quite the challenge for Perth.
And there's that coming together between Risdon and Zanuma. Just for a brief second, it looked as though that ball was going to beat the head of Murchula.
So a breeze which will swing this delivery even closer to goal. And Mizunuma towards Natta, causes some chaos in the box. Scrambled clear by Pearman. Rosas just over the head of Gibson. They are probing, they're asking all the questions at the moment, Newcastle. It's a common theme this season.
Well, there wasn't too much in that, was there? It was a nice run from Gibson. And if he does manage to get his head on it, Ollie Sale would have been left stranded.
So Zach Lizalewski is just stretching out. You just wonder whether he will continue on. Former Jets Academy player who went to Western United and then ended up at Perth Glory. Don't see much in there, Macca. Just looks to be your standard cramp late on in a match played in summer. So just having a look at the Perth Glory bench, they've got Miss out, who is a defender, can play in that position. So I wonder whether we will see him. He's the last of the new recruits, new signings in the January transfer window that are in the squad today for either side. And he's going to make his A-League men's debut with Joel Anasmo. 5th appearance off the bench for Anasmo this season. And an A-League debut for Yuto Misau. More than 300 appearances for him across the J1 and J2 leagues. And he's been with Kyoto Sanga the last 2 seasons in the J1. former J2 winner with Shannon Belmare. Talent really runs in that family. His brother Kento is a Japanese international. Sales pass. And Gamulka amid flurry of gold jerseys rushing towards him. Lachie Wales maybe a little bit rusty, will be today, and that's expected. He hasn't played since September. Played 7 matches for Gyeongnam in K2. 5 assists in 7 matches, 1 goal. But didn't get a minute since that final appearance in September. And that's where this current match situation leaves the ladder for both of these two sides, and doesn't make for pretty reading. Both would want another couple of points themselves. Taylor up towards Gibson. Can one of these sides upgrade the 1 to 3? Timmins, lovely pass. Back heel from Gibson. Another chance for Newcastle. This time for Taylor. It's been their Achilles heel, Daniel McBreen, this season, these kind of situations.
Well, it was wonderfully worked, wasn't it? Nice ball in, little back heel from Gibson. And you expect from that kind of area, Clayton Taylor has to at least test Ollie Sale. Looked like he just went again for all power and no real placement. Better to try and guide that one into the far post area. But you're right, Benny. It has been their downfall. Look at that, 18 shots on goal to 5.
And 3 on target.
3 on target, it's exactly.
And hit the woodwork on 3 occasions. In that first half. Mombwa earns a throw. No doubt they will conjure more chances, Newcastle, because it seems to be only they asking the real questions at the moment.
Well, that was almost the way that it panned out in the first half as well. Don't write Perth off yet.
No, most certainly. That chance at the back end of the first half. Adam Taggart getting a half sniff, earning a penalty. Rosas. Wilmering. Slid that pass in perfectly for Gibson. Taylor! What a tremendous finish from Clayton Taylor. That's one of his best in the A-League. And what a moment to score it, to put Newcastle in front in the final 13 minutes of normal time.
Well, you said it, Benny. They were the ones who were probing, who were testing, who were asking the questions. And on the Harvey Norman replay, the ultimate question was asked. A little bit fortuitous as he brings the ball down with his touch. See there, it just clips his heel, but on the swivel and turn, it's a wonderful finish into the bottom corner. Little deflection off the defender, but that is the reaction of a quality player. Murder Kudas it was with the touch, but it was Clayton Taylor who reacted quickest. Clips off the heel, spins and finishes and puts his side ahead. You have to credit Ben Gibson as well with the ball.
So goal confirmed, Newcastle into the lead, a 2-1 lead. Can Perth hit back straight away here? And Nasmo. Pearman. So this is going to be intriguing, isn't it? Because Perth have been on the back foot for most of this second half, and here come the chances. Taggart is up there again. It's amazing the psychological impact of a goal in this kind of moment. And on debut for Perth, Laurie, miss out, played in a great area, and he decided to be unselfish.
Well, too unselfish for mine there. It was wonderful play around the edge here, and I think he just needs to get a strike away. Look at all that space in the far post. Well, you said the last score may have been 4-0, but it was 5-2 all draws before that. Surely we're not going to get another one, Ben.
It's coming. It's coming. 6 in 7. Andy Howe's currently looking at the history books. Well, Newcastle will have ringing in their ears that this ball. Lockie Rose just over his head. Yes, a corner for Newcastle. What I was going to say is that result against Sydney, January 4, they led 2-0 and they gave up a 2-goal lead to draw 2-2 with Sydney FC. This is only a 1-goal margin. And on that occasion, they really did seem to shut up shop. Izanuma's ball. That could have ended up anywhere.
Was that Aquilina that got on the end of it?
I think it was a back heel, was it?
I don't even know if he was really expecting it. He just sort of threw the foot out at the last moment. He was caught up jostling with the defender and lost sight of the ball until the last moment.
Well, that's 4 corners from Mizunuma. Chaos invoked in all of them, really. He's been terrific with that delivery. No. Rose making things difficult for Notakudis. Angle the pass on the first attempt, gets one on the second, and the bright orange boots of Lockie Wales links with Anasmo. Freeney. Taggart was stooping. There is a second football on the pitch. The assistants clean that away, and Wilmering's off. Clayton Taylor, look at the space around him. Freeney, left it short on Wales. Mombwa giving chase. Charles Mombwa. His electricity. Outstanding. Now Mizunuma bearing down on goal. He went for the dink. Lockie Wales with his arms in the air at the back post. And in the end, he just was feeling that his legs were letting him down, you sense, and he tried to shoot a little earlier. Now it's Gibson, the latest player hitting the deck, looking towards the bench. Maybe he's cramping up. Wellisol is being summoned. And the Brazilian is going to get some final minutes here. And Anasmo, great footwork. Joel Anasmo, Taggart plays in Anasmo. That was beautiful. And it was smothered by Scott. Oh, and now Anasmo tries to... Oh, catch out Scott, and Lockie Wales instantly makes an impact on Perth Glory debut. It was absolute chaos in the Newcastle Jets box. And it ends up an equaliser for the second time today for Perth Glory.
Well, what about this run from Joel Anasmo? Digging and diving, little 1-2, and just when you think Ryan Scott's done enough, he almost catches him again. But it's the persistence from Adam Taggart with the block. Costa Grozos trying to clear, and Lockie Wales in the middle of the goal mouth, just waiting, hoping, praying. He's first to react, and it's 2-2 between Newcastle Jets and Perth. Would you believe it?
5 of the last 6 matches between these two have been 2-2. And it's 2-2 once again. And what is it about Lockie Wales and debut goals? He scored on debut for Yongnam in the K2 League last year. Comes to Perth Glory, scores on debut here as Scarcella replaces Taylor. In the meantime, and Willisol has replaced Ben Gibson. So Newcastle have used up all their 5 substitutions. So Willisol's come off the bench in all of his recent appearances for the Jets. That's 9 straight off the bench after he started his first 3. So can Newcastle find a go-ahead goal for the 3rd time? Mizunuma pokes it. Down goes Rose. It looks softish. But Lockie Rose is grabbing an ankle. Interesting to see what the replay suggests here, but he is limping back, Lockie Rose. Willisol. Mizunuma all in front of Rose, and out comes Sale.
Yeah, nothing in that at all.
Just an accidental stamp, I think.
Doesn't mean it hurts. It doesn't hurt.
Is that where you curl your toes up, Macca?
Yeah.
So Kalen Majeka-Dunmi, he is going to make a rare appearance for Perth this season. Hasn't played since round 1, the round in Macarthur. Mizunuma, what a way to introduce himself to the Jets faithfully if he had have scored from there. We've already had Wales on the board on debut for Perth. And Majeka-Dunmi, first appearance since round 1. That will be Tas Murder-Kudus, which is a great effort from him. After coming over from the Canadian Premier League, last match, back end of last season, 2024, so he gets through almost 90 minutes here. Big role for Majeka-Dunmi to play alongside Murchula in the final minutes. Mombwa. Missau got a toe. Control it and retain possession for Perth. Willisol. We're being told there's at least going to be 5 minutes of additional time. So more than enough time for one of these two sides to find a match winner. Scarcella. Mombwa. Timmins kept it rolling to Mizunuma. Aquilina hangs it up. Mombwa just glanced over to this near touchline, and it was a moment that Perth were able to exploit and win back possession. Brozos. Well, probably a little unfortunate there not to win the throw, Perth Glory. So what a dramatic match this has turned out to be. Twice leaders Newcastle, twice pegged back by Perth Glory. Is there another twist in this tale?
Well, the amount of result-changing goals we've seen in the 90-plus minutes mark in these A-League games this season, that right off a winner.
Woolmering just hangs it up. Wellersol getting under it. Mizanuma! And Sale was diving. He was worried. And there's an appeal from Jets fans. Not many players, but fans behind the goal about a potential handball here.
It was just looped into the box. As it comes down to Mizanuma, and he has this strike here. The Jets fans behind the goal were all up, claiming a handball. And as you say, Ben, not many of the Jets players at all responded, did they? Lucky Wales. Oh, sorry, Lucky Wales. Lucky Rose.
Well, I was about to say that a moment ago. It was
too many Lockies.
Oh, there is.
There was rumours that there was a Lockie Jackson in town recently.
Oh, don't add another one to the mix.
Well, here's another look as it comes away from the header. Numa gets in quickly. Now it's off the backside, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Jets fans were going up more so in hope and thinking about that first half handball decision, which went against them. But when you don't take your chances, this is what can happen, and Newcastle will look and go, wow, look at the two goals. A Taggart half opportunity, which turns into a handball, a goal, and then a real scrappy one off the back of some wonderful work from Joel and Asmo, and it's 2-2. Don't forget, coming up straight after this one, football tonight, and then it's Macarthur and Melbourne City. There's a real heavyweight battle. Two sides fighting it out towards the pointy end of the Isuzu Ute A-League ladder. Now, this has taken at least 90 seconds. Ben Abraham was just pointing to his watch saying we will have this time on. Murchel is going to have to spend some time off the field here. So Perth down to 10. And they'll need him now. He runs back on, and look at this. He is looking very tight and looking as though he's going to go into a full body cramp. How would you describe that running, Macca? We'll come back to it because Mizanuma's ball is another good one. And another wasted moment for the Jets. That time it was Wellersol.
Well, that's a free header. Has to do better there. It's another wonderful ball. And look, free as a bird. You just can't guide it on target.
I was just thinking, Murchler was running like a tin man.
It wasn't pretty, was it?
Poor Tommy Murchler. He's done some special things in his career. He broke a goalpost at Central Coast Stadium all those years ago. Won a title, the premiership with Perth Glory. Back under Tony Popovich, and now back in the West. Mombwa. And Murchler was testing out the body. Timmins. It was shoulder to shoulder, arm to arm, and he's one out. And Scarcella with the fresh legs. Bursting forward, the touch was heavy. And Freeney profits initially. That's hoofed away by Murchler. Anywhere will do. And a Nasmo can be dangerous. And Nasmo to win it for Perth. Scott has saved the day for the moment for the Jets.
Well, it was almost a comedy of errors, the ball being turned over back and forth. And then Asmo just took off. A horrible attempt at a clearance from Costa Grozos, just basically played it into the path. And Ryan Scott to the rescue. Out, spread, big. Just what Rob Stanton needed.
Oh, what a massive moment. There's still a corner, though, to defend. And it's Natta who stretches a boot at it. Murchel getting up there on the edge of the box. Rose deflects around. This is two sides desperate for 3 points. Wales looking for a goal. A second in this match. And now it's Scott launching it. This is going to be absolutely thrilling. And don't be deceived, there's not 30 seconds. There will probably be at least another 90 to 2 minutes because of that cramping stoppage a moment ago due to Tommy Michella going down. Rose with his arm up in the middle. That's where Aquilina's delivering. And it's a corner. Is it?
Yep.
Yes, it is. And this is a dangerous side as well because this is going to be coming in with the breeze. And it's Mizunuma running across, and every corner he's delivered so far has been extremely dangerous for Perth Glory. One of the last kicks of the game. The new man Mizunuma, plenty of height, and it's his worst corner of the match after all the build-up. And Mombwa should give away the free kick and does there for a clear push in the back.
And I think it's clear to see which team will be happier with the 2-2 result. Just taking their time to take this free kick.
Well, this will be a yellow card. He won't care about that. Tommy Michella.
I don't think he really wanted to run out there the way his legs are feeling. Lee Sale will fire this one up the field, and there'll probably be a minute, I would say, for someone to get a winner.
So a throw for Perth. So what a valuable point this would be on the road. They've got a couple of points on the road against Mariners in Adelaide, had that win against Brisbane. Taggart, miss out. Drops it back to Taggart. Grozos away. And would you believe it? For the sixth